Alright, Peridian. Let's look at this.
Shall we, dear
You
one?
decided to go coin, which is a good choice.
When you see us,
It's too late.
In team play.
30
Really
seconds
nice.
until minions spawn.
Normally you instantly run out here because if you wait like you did and they enter to this bush, they have time to enter it before you see them, which then they can choose you. But if you run instantly, they can't see you, or you see them at the same time, so they can't sneak into the bush. Nothing too much here. Just people showing,
Minions have spawned.
otherwise nothing to it. Okay. The call should be made that they didn't leash because you see them, or you saw them not leash. So most likely, similar to the top side, I think that was the call. Can't really control the wave at this point. So what I wanted to talk to you about is pairings. It's movements by you and your opponent, and how they work against each other and with each other. So generally what you want to happen is whenever your AD carry moves up, you move up, and generally speaking you should be ahead of your AD carry by a little bit. It changes on distance between how close your opponent AD carry is, but if they ever do walk up for an auto, generally you and your AD carry should be walking up together, so it turns into a 2v1 situation. Definitely with Thresh, because you have a longer range than someone, let's say like Braum, so you can do easier damage. So just keep that in mind. This is really nice here. Keeping the wave relatively similar. They're pushing in, but you're too close to your turret for them to actually pressure. If he does pressure, let's say if Varus instead started walking up before this got too low, instead of saying he's level 2 and he's stronger, you would want to say, well, he's going into a 1v2 situation, and because Braum can't really do too much because you're way too close to the turret. So if they ever did walk up, you would just go on them, even if you're not level 2. But now that's evened out, this is good. So generally you want to be moving upwards and staying in this relative vicinity above your AD carry. Again, if he starts walking forward, then you flay him, or walk up while he's autoing you and flay, and then your AD carry then hit him, and then get a better trade than they can get on you, basically.
Marvel at that!
Okay, you and your AD carry should be discussing where you want the wave. Generally, with this matchup, Varus is strong. he can relatively win trades over Ezreal, and Braum likes it when you're not close to your turret, so taking that into account, you would either want it, or they would either want it frozen over here or pushed into them. And they don't want it relatively here. So you should discuss whether you like this idea. You are also Thresh, so you can set up ganks from this position because you have 2 open pathways, or potentially 3 open pathways to come from, and the jungler can even come from 4. So this is probably your best bet at where you want your lane. You should be communicating this generally in loading screen, where you would probably prefer the lane to be depending on your picks and what general game plan you want. If they're going to be focusing bottom, you want to consider, well, if I can make the opponent cross this line and play towards this line, they're more susceptible to ganks, and you can focus bottom easier, right? Very simple. If they're, let's say, you want to win bottom, so you're pressuring, but it's really hard to set up ganks here, unless you have like a 4-man, because not too many times you can get a successful gank with just like 3 people. You normally need 4 if they're under turret, unless they're severely poked down. So just consider this, where you want your lane, and you should probably be talking about it in champ select, or not in champ select, but in loading screen most likely. It's the easiest time to understand what you want to do, but you can always discuss it while you're in lane. It's just easier when you're not in lane because you're focusing minions and actually controlling the wave at that point. So this Varus keeps pushing in, which is really good for you, and you guys kind of keep pushing outwards, which it kind of like, you would want him to them here, and they kind of just keep themselves here for most of the laning phase, where that's bad for them, and they didn't really understand that. Okay.
First blood.
Okay, walking forward. Go for a hook. Most Thresh mains that I see, they hold hooks. Most of the lane, they barely throw out hooks actually. So when you throw this hook out, every Thresh main knows that once you throw it out, you are severely like less in the lane. Same thing with Blitzcrank. Hooking champions, once they throw out their hook, they usually become much less in lane, which then causes your opponent to start moving forward. But in this situation, you should not move backwards, because at this point you're opening harassment to your AD carry. So if you move forward at this time, you can't go into your AD carry, and if he keeps moving forward, it would be a 2v1 instead of a just free poke. Because right now, he's just sitting behind the AD carry. Yes, he can jump to him and shield him, but then that wastes his mana and more of his time, and still the damage is on you and not your AD carry. So this is like gouging the lane basically, which is better than playing back and just letting free poke go down, basically. And then he's sitting in the anti-healing with his potion. But okay, you throw your hook again, and then they just go in on you because, again, no hook. But this was a bad trade for them in general, because it gets much lower, and then Israel poked down more. And you should have probably not backed up as much. Since Ezreal was going forward, you should have probably went forward too. even if you didn't have anything, generally you would want to swap the damage from Ezreal to you. You have more pots in lane, you have more tankiness and HP.
What folly it is.
should be
Our
taking
master
more.
looms over you.
Again, you lose your threat after you use your hook. But the best time to look for a hook in particular is when they stop the auto and you have to catch them. You basically have to predict when they're going to auto before they actually auto, so you catch them in the animation instead of them autoing, because then they have time to still walk afterwards. Play here. You kind of froze in place here. You just keep walking from here. Walk, click behind them, basically, and then walk and play. And then he's highly positioned out. Braum can't really follow up from the sheer fact that he can jump, shield, and whatnot, but then you have a ton of minions, so if they did try to follow it up too much, they would eventually lose. And once Braum's shield is down and they already queued you and everything is burnt on you, Ezreal just kills Varus. So this trade would be exponentially good. They've been separating in lane most of the lane besides basically the start, but generally you want to keep track of the opponent pairing, and they've been generally far away from each other, so you should be moving up with your AD carry and making this a 2v1, because he's been alone basically the whole game and harassing your AD carry, which he got for free. Okay. You should be communicating when you want to go back. He has tier. So getting back is really nice. Okay. And it's on a cannon wave too. That's really good. They're pushing the cannon wave, so you have preemptive time to not return to lane. You can go over here and roam. You have a free ward, and mid laners will love you long time if you come and protect them. Even if Kindred, yes, is on top side and you should be tracking the jungler, or at least be participating in like where the jungler might be, since the AD carry is focusing on the wave. So you should be focusing on what's happening on the map while you are focusing on the lane too. That is your main preemptive job, is to position well with your AD carry and focus on the map. So warding here or warding here would be preemptively nice for you to do after you know that's a cannon wave, and you won't be losing much. It even hit another minion wave, so it's not even going to hit turret yet, and you won't lose that much XP at all. And any XP you do get, like lose, will go to your AD carry, which he gets an earlier level 6, which means better damage earlier, which who would want to give that up? But okay. Communicate with your AD carry to ward and preemptively ward throughout the laning phase. You guys were pushed in, so he can't really ward too much, but generally speaking, you should be warding. affected by your AD carry is something you should look for too. Since you want to keep the freeze, well, he killed the minion, but he shouldn't kill the minion here. If you want to keep the freeze, you grab the wave before it hits turret range, which turret range is like right about here, or here. So they're just out of turret range. But you want to keep the 3 minutes, so you want to freeze it, and this is generally, like I was saying before, where you want your wave. And definitely if you're looking for a gank, it's nice to force your opponent to walk up for any XP. So if you can freeze the lane right here, perfect. They have to walk up here if they want any kind of XP at all. Or farm. And it makes it easier for the gank to happen. I know you were calling a gank around this time. See this going on? It's frozen. This is also a nice thing to have it frozen in front of your turret with. You can roam and they can't really punish them. Even if you swap the AD carry, let's say for like, swap them like with Varus and Ezreal or any immobile AD carry, you can't really do anything to them because they are next to turret. So that's another thing why you would want to have a frozen wave in front of your turret if you want to roam. It's beautiful for roaming. You can, even if you didn't get anything like on this, nothing happens to Ezreal because he can farm in front of his turret. And they can't really do too much. But okay, you enter back into lane with Kha'Zix, really good. Amazingly good. That's good here. You res that
Final moment.
if you hook here, this is obvious, and he doesn't want Kha'Zix on him, so he's gonna flash forward, get the nice hook. Fantastic. You do call the go button a little bit slow, but still fine. You guys should be looking for this kill. Ezreal has flash, you have flash. This is an easy pickup. Should be an easy kill for the most part. No one's committing, even though Ezreal still has flash and a Q auto, and Kha'Zix doesn't really have anything for you, but someone should be killing him. And then that's when you roam and never go bottom again. I mean, you should totally not do that. Yeah, you should get your Mobius and roam. I mean, what? Not toxic, I swear. Ezreal screws his own lane here, and if he's communicating in the back, you should not be walking into lane. There's a full HP turret. It's a cannon wave, so they're going to be pushing slow, and this wave is going to hit here before they can actually shove this in. So this is the perfect time to get wards on the map, which you have a ward, and just roam in general. Can't really roam mid too much because it's casted in, but if he does ult in, you kind of have to consider that he will go for harassment, and if you tell them that you're going to gank, then he can walk up into ult range and then bait it out, and then you can walk in. You could still have flash, so this could be an easy gank. He's really squishy, your Victor has red buff, and also just getting another ward, like I said, on mid side could be very valuable. Okay, so you come here a little bit later. This is fine. You still... Oh, you used a ward somewhere? Oh, you used it on dragon. Okay. If you're going to be over here anyways, you can get a better ward on dragon instead. And also, nitpicking on this scrying orb. When you come and use it, you should look at what direction you're hitting it in and know that it's a very large range. You hit it at a diagonal angle straight into lane. If you come in over here, hit it, it will see the bush and it will see over here as well. So you'll be getting the whole warded area because people generally ward in between. Oh, whoops. This location, so this is normally where everyone wards. Some people do certain wards like here or other places, but generally this is your warding hotspot in this location. So hitting the scrying orb in the location where you'll get everything is much better than just one bush. But okay. You should probably just walk straight back in the lane here. There's nothing you can really do anywhere else. You would have to be preemptively moving towards the top side to get there. If you ran straight from there, you could maybe be over here, but you still wouldn't be over here. And then they rotated middle and pushed that in. Okay. Just trying to get wards as fast as possible.
No! That was mine!
Okay, communicate you have wards. And then try to communicate which side of the map do you want to play on. Generally, you want to play on Dragon for bot lane, but if the Drake isn't good for you, then you should obviously be not going for it. With this team comp, it wouldn't be the best. It would be nice on Thresh, I guess, if you wanted to get closer for hooks, but generally, your team doesn't really need it too much. You can kind of discuss that in comps and things beforehand, but I'm not going to go over that right now. So the importance would probably be either Rift or just defensive wards for mid and bot lane, so you would probably be wanting to come from this direction with Victor and warding from this side. But yeah. From this side over here, sorry, I didn't move my camera. Okay, we decide that we want to fight for this dragon. So we go forward. You should not let your AD carry be alone versus the support over here. Yes, you're looking for a lantern. You should probably be communicating that. I don't think you did. But otherwise, you shouldn't always be looking for a lantern. You know these two are over here next to the dragon. And you most likely want to fight this, but you should be with your AD carry. The pairing Thankful and it kind of led to this disaster. So here, you want to move forward. You generally want to tell your AD carry to move backwards, and you want to wait for your team. Victor should be coming over, so everything should be fine. You start moving backwards when you can probably just move forward. You consistently do this, definitely in lane, but you throw out a hook and then you start moving backwards. And this just makes your play very predictable at what you're going to do. And then he's alone. Support never should be alone. Alright, AD carry should never be alone.
We know your name.
The only time they can be alone is when they're safe. So when the floor is closing in on them, up.
Shut down.
It's a horrifying scene, let's not watch that. Ezreal goes top, go top. This is a good call, you'll press that wave. Okay, going through to the lane in the right direction. Think of the best ward setup here. Since you have free time, you see a bunch of them bot side and just resetting in general. Red is up. Okay.
You steal from us.
We steal from you.
Okay. Okay, right here, you just picked up a huge wave, and considering on your game plan, you should be moving on the map accordingly. So, first off, you should be looking at who's matching you, which is bot lane, and Varus is ahead because of item-wise, so you should be very careful. And you're in open territory, so Braum can kind of run up on you. Can't do too much damage to Braum, because your Ezreal's first volley of things will not get past the shield. You lose this 2v2, so moving up in here is not good. You need to be focusing on what's on the map. Skull's going to be spawning soon, Red's up, but it would be risky to go over there. So moving backwards is probably your best bet. You can decide what you want to do from there, whether it's clear a camp or hit your bottom and cast camp over there. You could easily have gotten Reds up here. You didn't, and they took their 2v2 advantage against Skill 2. They had a significant lead, and they kind of just ran you down because they didn't have to care about your damage at that point. Well, that's it for the most part with the early game. I'm not going to go over everything, but just general things you need to work on.